There's no exception to the rule. Listen, baby.
Keys, press play.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Man, you don't know who you fooling with. God gave me this gift. My father passed it on. I'm using it. This is so relatable. Everybody plays the fool, even those that are sharper than a tailor suit and gator shoes. Started as a young entertainer, getting paid in full. Put some aside for later mistakes. I should have stayed in school. Took the gamble that this lifestyle is sustainable. Don't ask me if I'm out here still eating. You see this plate of food. Papa told me that there be days like this. Mama took my ass to church and said them ways ain't it. Okay, I'll get my act together, cause I'm an acting brother. So hard to keep fighting temptations, you can ask my brother. No double meaning, I'm meaning the movie he did with Beyonce.
Good.
Happening?
How are you?
Blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
Same.
Good.
Definitely
Good.
so.
Oh, I love the hair. I love the
my
red.
God.
You
Thank
look
you.
fabulous. Good to
My
see you.
lips aren't too shiny because you know if people have a lot of lip gloss on, they start looking ashy. Do they look?
Looks great.
Thank you. So, oh my gosh, I'm so appreciative that you could join us. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Hanging with
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am. You're
Cooper,
welcome.
that was like my favorite
You're
show.
welcome. Hello.
I grew up.
That takes some time.
So tell me, what do you have going on so far this year?
This has been one of the wildest years. I thought last year was amazing when I was like added to a play and I already had this tour going. This year has been nothing short of amazing on a lot of different fronts. I'm doing a play, another play, which is kind of fun. Look at that, comes full circle. Which takes place in Milwaukee, March 22nd. It's called Bruh Man Needs Love Too. And it's a combination between All in the Family, Archie Bunker, and Bruh Man. Yeah. So I get to do my little eat it. I get Archie. So it's fun. It's fun. We do a Zoom rehearsal, so I'm getting used to the Zoom thing. Every Wednesday. I also have a booming music career, which is real exciting. Yeah, man. So I've been doing music for, it's kind of been like my parallel career. A lot of people know, a lot of people don't. So every time I release some music, people go, "Oh my God, I had no idea he does music." Like they didn't know my father was Cuba Gooding of the main ingredient. Everybody plays a fool sometimes. Was my dad, and my mother was also a singer. So the two of them met back in Harlem, where they were both born, and I think they met in the Bronx because my brother and sister were born in the Bronx, but they're both from Harlem, and then they moved to California, and then little baby Omar was born. So I have an older sister, an older brother. I have two older brothers, one Thomas, and then my brother Cuba Jr. is 9 years older than me. Now my brother and sister are only a year apart. They're a year apart exactly to the day. Their birthday is both on January 2nd. And 9 years after my brother, baby Omar's born, out in California. So I'm a West Coast baby, West Coast born and raised. And so it's fun. But my parents were both singers, so we always sung a lot of music. If we listened to any music, it was my father's music. If we did any singing, it was my mother doing the singing. Like, you know what I mean? Because Papa was pretty much a Rolling Stone. You know what I'm saying? He was on the move a lot. And to his defense, I should say, because we always say that in joke, Papa was a Rolling Stone. Well, he had a huge career in the 70s. And like I said, he had the #1 hit, Everybody Plays the Fool. And then he went out to South Africa during apartheid, which is a big no-no for American artists. And when he came back, he got in trouble just for going out there. And they snatched his record off the shelves, and he had to start over again. So when he had to start over again, he couldn't stay at home in California. He had to go get it. You know what I mean? And he's from Harlem, so Pop went, a lot of times he was on the East Coast. And my brother and I were, the heads of the family, and my brother, him being 9 years older than me. So he starts his own family at around 19, 20 years old. I'm 10 now. Now I've got to make my way, My mom's working 2 jobs. My sister's using a regular job. Excuse me. And I actually, before my brother moves out, I pick up a script for him from his agent. His agent takes one look at me, and I say a few words. I speak clearly. I'm talking just like this, looking her in her eyes. Hi, I'm here to pick up a script for my brother, Cuba. She's like, wow, look at you, little happy little thing. You ever thought about being an actor? And I was like, not really. I was like, I'm 9, And she's like, I can send you out on some auditions so we can see what that is. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but I'll do it, And I begged my mom, and she finally let me go. And she took me out I had 2 auditions in one day. The first audition was for a sitcom, and it was terrifying. It was a huge building. I had no training. I haven't did anything but maybe a couple of plays in school, So I don't know what I was doing. And then the second audition, the same day, was for an educational film called for McGruff the Crime Dog. Remember McGruff back in the day? Say no drugs. And I was, was real comfortable and relaxing. A bunch of kids around, and we were like throwing the football around in between, auditioning. And I went in, I read my lines, and I booked it. First time out, two auditions, and I booked one. And it was like I was bit after that. My big break, I believe, was when I did Ghost Dad. Remember Ghost Dad back in '89?
I do remember.
Yeah, I was the first one to tell my brother I was the first one that got a big movie. Never got an Oscar. I did work with Bill Cosby back in the day. Ghost Dad starring Bill Cosby was awesome. I played Stewart. And that was it. Oh, that was it. So that was my first movie, but my first real big break was in television when I did Webster. That was my first speaking role.
I remember
Webster. Webster had towards the end of their season, they had this big, I think it was like the 100th episode, where they did a play on the Untouchables. And they all had little mustaches on, and we had the machine guns, we were gangsters, but the machine guns shot pie and whipped cream and stuff. And I played an announcer, and then when I auditioned for it, I never forget, because this set the tone for how I was going to audition for the rest of my life. Me and my sister and my mom were sitting trying to think of what I can do to be creative, how I could stand out in this audition. And we came up with the idea to take a microphone and stick it in my jacket. So with the long cord and everything. So I pulled up, put it in my jacket, and all these kids came in and they read, and finally, who's coming in next? Omar Miles Gooding. Yes, it's me. Hi, how you doing? Oh, look at this happy little guy. All right, you ready to go? And I said, yep. Before I started, I pulled the mic out and the cord hit the floor, and I said, and now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sammy Club. And they were like, they all fell over laughing. And I booked it, and I was just like, okay, you got to keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Everybody, when I walked into the audition, remember, everybody looked the same, because they send out a casting call and they tell you, this is what we're looking for. The other thing I credit is our agent, Coralie Jr., rest in peace. She never really looked at the breakdowns. She didn't care. She said, they want a kid, I'm gonna send them a kid. They want a white kid, I'm gonna send them Omar.
Right.
They want they want a little nerdy kid, I'm sending Omar. And that's how I would do these things, because they just weren't expecting me. And then when I walk in there and I'm speaking like this, and I'm talking clearly, and I'm enunciating, and I'm looking in their eyes, and I'm full of energy, and I keep smiling. They had a great smile. No braces. This has been my smile since I was 7. Same teeth. No. That'd be weird. But yeah, man. So that was the beginning for me. But my long-winded statement that I'm trying to make is not only was I an actor at a young age, but I was also always doing music. I fell in love with rap. I fell in love with hip hop.
Right.
The music of my era was Boyz II Men, Jodeci. You know what I mean? That era, right? And my mom and dad were looking at me and say, they ain't really singing. They ain't singing. They singing through their nose, boy. So this was some really singing. Put on some Frankie Beverly Mays. Let me show you the Harold Melvin and the Blue Nose and Cuba Gooding and the main ingredient. That's real singing, boy. And I'd be like, yeah, all right, fine. I'm rapping then. I go, and they never really respected rap until they heard me do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is interesting. I was like, oh, my son's the best. Yeah. But they'll listen to me because I always spoke clearly, and I always knew when I can speed it up and when to slow it down. I've always been intellectual. I've always been a thinker. Like when I say always, even as a little kid, I was always going, but why? But I don't understand. Explain it to me. Well, let me ask this question. I didn't really do well in school because I always had to be, for me, it was like repetition. You know what I mean? I had to hear it more than once. So a teacher would say it, and I'd be like, okay, so what is it? And for some reason, LAUSD, I hate it. I'm sorry. I always bash our school district in LA, but kids weren't encouraged to ask questions.
Right.
It was like, listen to us talk, get it right, do the assignment, and be quiet. And I'm in the back talking. Yeah, I got this show.
Right.
What? Okay. You weren't listening? No, I was listening. I just didn't quite get it. Can you say it again? But with acting, I was always a natural. It was always a natural. It just came easy to me. And I didn't really take classes. You know, I took drama in school. You know what I mean? And then with rap and hip hop, it was great because I could write my own. I can create my own narrative. It was great. It was like, what do you mean I could just write my own lyrics and then do it? This is great. I remember first time I ever really remember rapping in front of anybody. I was in elementary school. I was in 4th grade, and the 6th graders they had like a little cipher. They were in a circle every day, and I just said, I'm gonna write me something. And I wrote it down on paper because I didn't want to memorize it. I want to mess it up. I remember I was just standing there listening to them. And they were like, look at this little dude. What you doing, man? What, you got something? I was like, yeah. And I unwrapped my little paper and I wrapped it up. Name is Omar. And they were like, ah, like, you know. And I was big. I remember we performed the show by Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick in the 4th grade talent show. And we lip synced it. It was lip sync. That's when lip syncing was it, you know. And I don't know if we won or whatever the case was, but I know we brought down the house. I don't think it was like winning or losing back in that grade, but we killed it. And I'm telling you, I was bit. I was like, if I can ever do it. And I love being in groups. I love rap groups, you know, like Far Side. That was one of my favorite rap groups when I was in high school. I also like Leaders of the New School, Busta Rhymes, the Fushnikins. The Fushnikins rap really fast. They were like Twister back in the day. So I learned how to rap quickly.
Right.
That's the crazy thing. I learned that if you put words together, certain words you can say faster. Right. You know what I mean? I had to.
See, I never could get that. Like, I like to rap, but I could never, ever.
It's all about writing the words. And that was the creative fun part for me. Right. Not only making it rhyme, make it make sense, but also make it easy to say in the cadences in which you have to say them. Right. You have to match the beat. You hear the beat's going like this, so you got to be able to get it in there like this, and you got to be able to speed it up. Now I got to be able to get it in there like this, and I got to be able to, you know what I mean? Now I got to speed it up. Oh, so it was fun to figure that part out, and I was listening because I remember they had this one line where they said, "The thicker, the richer, the bigger, the better the flow." And when you're rapping along with it, you can't really say everything they say, but that part, the thicker, the richer, the bigger the flow. It's just those words put together, you can say faster and you can understand what you're saying. You can't say everything.
How long did it take you to learn that?
It was one of those things that I picked up on quickly. Like, you know, everybody learns differently. Like I said, I learned repetition is better for me. I don't just get it the first time you say it, boom, I'm a genius. No, I need it brain, but once it's in there, it's in there. And you have to figure out what works for you, you know? So for me, like I said, being creative and being able to figure out the words that I know I can say fast that really hit. Once I figured that out, it was it. Then it was funny because my friends would always tease me. It's like, man, we know your rhymes. You'll start rapping like this and you'll be in this room. And then right at the end of every verse, you start rapping really, really fast. So it was kind of like my signature thing. And I was like, well, yeah, you shouldn't be that predictable. So it took me a while to really find my flow, you know, because I would, the other kind of challenge I had in hip hop was that when people found out who I was, they went, oh yeah, that actor guy. You know what I mean? Like I've had DJs and prominent hip hop figures come to performances and they see all these guys jumping around and we have hats on and they can't tell who was who. I remember one guy was real excited to see my group. And then when they got off stage, like, where's the guy that had the Kango on? And I took the Kango off. That was me. And they were like, oh yeah, you that actor. You know what I mean? So it made me kind of hide behind my music in the sense of, I wouldn't say this is Omar Gooding. I would say I had a check my, oh, there we go.
There you go. Take your time.
You good? Okay. I was like, oh, what's going on? It's getting windy out here. So I know it's but I remember I put a whole album out under Big O, and then when people went to search for it, they couldn't find it because they were like, who's Big O? And it was like 12 different people named Big O. And I was like, all right, Omar Gooding. But when I first started, like, again, that was the stigma. It was just like, oh, you should do a rap about acting. And it's just like, no, I just want to contribute to hip hop. You know what I mean? This is what I love. This is the culture. This is what I grew up on. So it took me a minute to kind of find my legs, but I really didn't take it seriously until I was expecting a child. And it was later in life because I was like, no, I got to do me. I can't raise no kid. I can't, you know, finally me and my woman said, all right, it's time. And it was like 38, 39, you know, and then she finally got pregnant and it was just like, okay. And I remember when I was I'm always, like I said, I'm always a thinker. I'm always thinking forward. So I was just like, imagine sitting with your son years from now, and he's old enough to understand everything and whatnot. He's listening to music, and I say something like, "Yeah, I used to rap," and he'd say, "Where's your albums? Where's your music? Where can I find it?" And that drove me. I said, "You know what? I got to put an album out," and I released the album, and now I've released 3. And it's now once you keep writing, once you start, now you just bit, and it's fun. But most recently, I kind of got into this little rap war of words that turned into me releasing a couple diss records. Yeah. Against Cameron. And just to touch on that lightly for a minute, basically, the lead up to that is this. I'm also, if I don't have enough hats that I wear, I also do stand-up comedy. And that's another thing we'll talk about in a moment. But one of the topics, I should say, that I use on stage is that I get my name mispronounced sometimes. Some people think my name is Omar Gooding Jr. because my brother he's Cuba Gooding Jr. You must be Omar Gooding Jr. And I go, oh my God. and I had to make jokes out of it to try to drive that home. The point is like, come on now, everybody knows this. So then I get a call one day, and one of my buddies that's on tour with me goes, "Yo, did you hear? Cameron just called you Omar Gooding Jr." And I went, "No, not Cameron. Wow. Not Cameron, the guy that I did a movie with. Not Cameron, the one that I starred in this film with him. Not just a quick little one scene. No, it's me and him and Ving Rhames of all people. Me, Ving, and him. This is probably about 5 or 6 years after Baby Boy. So for me, it felt like the East Coast version of Baby Boy. It just didn't have the same backing. But it went to Netflix, and few people saw it, but it wasn't like a big box office hit or anything like that. But I was like, I worked with this man. I even told him I'd do hip hop. I played some music for him, and he was like, "Yo," I was shocked, which was funny because it's like, he was shocked. But yeah, he was shocked. Like, I didn't expect you to be that nice, honestly. And I said, let's do some music, and I sent him a track, and we never did any songs together, so that kind of was a little chip on my shoulder. Like, don't say I'm nice and then tell me to send music, and then you never do nothing to it. But that's a little sidebar. And then 10 years some odd later, he's got this podcast, and he's talking to, of all people, 50 Cent, who's another artist that I admire, and they're talking back and forth, and he's like, "Yeah, people like Omar Gooding Jr." I said, "I know he didn't." "You know my name, bro. You know my name, and you called me Omar Gooding Jr." But I go, "Okay, that's fine." What else did he say? He said, "It's a shame that people like Omar Gooding Jr. and Ving Rhames have to sit around waiting for people like 50 Cent to put them in something and get some work." I was like, "What?" You know how busy I am? Go to my IMDb. There's not a year that passed on my IMDb where you don't see 5 or 6 different projects on there. Right. There's some small, some big, whatever the case is. I've been doing television shows since the 90s. I'm talking just sitcoms alone I've done since the 90s. You the Smart Guy, Hang with Mr. Cooper, Wild Kids. Before I finished high school, I was on Deadwood the series. I did Barbershop the series. I mean, there's a series regular. You know what I mean? We did 91 episodes of Family Time for Bounce. You know what I mean? And then I just signed a deal with Disney and did. We only went one season, but we did Saturdays for Disney. We filmed that out in Chicago about the roller skating culture in Chicago. So that was tremendous. But on and on and on, and then films. I got all the movies coming out. So anyway, I'm constantly working. I don't not let alone traveling on the We Out Here comedy tour with Charles Allen and Charlie Mack, which is going on 2 years strong now. We thought it was going to be a 1 year thing. And I was like, oh, the strike happened, but it's like, oh, things, it's picking up, and it's a lot of fun to just get out and connect with my fans and stuff. Absolutely. So anyway, so as I'm doing this comedy, and then I get this phone call, and I hear Cam says these remarks, and I just said, it's time to make it all connect. So for me, some people that didn't know I did music are going, what is this actor doing making a rap song against a guy that has like murdered people in the rap industry? He's gone after Jay-Z, he's gone after 50 Cent, made him change his name to Curtis. Like, you don't want to mess with that dude. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of nice. I'm not your average bear, for one.
DJ Meanie, Omar Gooding. We're gonna do it like this. LA to Buffalo, New York. I don't think they hear us yet. They not understanding. It's time for them to overstand, you heard? 80, man. Drop that bomb on them, man. Quite historic. My life support sports and Olympic-sized trials. When I finish, light the torches, never diminished by finish lines and accolades. The journey is the struggle, the bubble that comes after, man. If you in it, know it's coming, so keep pushing. Nothing worse than knowing you could do it, but fail to pursue it. Heard a no and said, fuck it, I tried to just quit. Never reevaluated, regrouped, or resuscitated. It's hard enough to get through stuff when shit gets tough. Imagine trying to bluff and running up and still coming in runner-up. That's tough. Imagine needing more than luck. Imagine getting what you asked but still not asking for enough. Imagine reaching for the stars when you can't even touch the ceiling. You ain't feeling what I'm feeling. You ain't living what I'm living. It's not giving what it's.
And I can absolutely say that's true because you got 169,000 views in 10 days.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. And if it was terrible, it just wouldn't happen. They would have been like, nope, next. No one would have shared it. But no, Source Magazine and Vibe Magazine and Hip Hop News and all the blogs, everybody was talking about it, and they were shocked about the first song that I did. Now, the funny thing is this, too. I did an interview with Real Life Street Stars, and it was my second time doing Real Life Street Stars. When the first time I did it, I, to be honest, had no idea the following that they had. They just said, hey, we want to do an interview and, X amount of dollars. Will you come do this? And I said, sure. And I went out there and I just sat on the couch and just had fun and talked and blah, blah, blah. And then when I saw all of the people that, it was like 500,000 in however many weeks or such, I was just like, wow. They said, let's do a part 2. And I had a lot of things to say in part 2. And, this stuff just happened. And, and again, me being an MC and a lyricist, what happened when I saw the comments of Cameron, I went to the booth, which is the microphone. I went and picked up my phone and I started doing this. And I went through my beats and I started doing it. And I wrote 2 responses. I don't like to call them diss tracks. This is weird to me. I'm dissing you. I'm not dissing nobody. I'm just expressing myself. And if and notice there's 2 things people don't get. When you hear it, I never say his name. And that's not because I'm scared. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Maybe not. Some people go, who is he even talking about? You either pay attention or you don't. That's my
I subscribed because I wanted to see part 2. And I was like, oh my gosh. I listened. I was like, oh my gosh. Because it was like that, second person shooter.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, my gosh.
That's also the whole part of it. You do one record. A lot of people don't know I rap at all. So I had to make it as broad as I can. I had to get everyone's attention. And I had to try to explain it without throwing all crazy metaphors and going nuts. Just get right to the point, show him my cadences, my delivery, my writing, let him see what's up. If he goes, what? I'm going to kill this dude and comes back at me, then I really get crazy. But instead of him responding like that, he just laughed it off, which pissed me off even more. But just being honest with you, I mean, I did the first record. I did the first record, and then I had a second record kind of in the chamber just in case he did respond. That was very direct, but I didn't release it, and I'm not going to. It's very direct, and even my people were like this. Don't do that. Don't do that. You made your point with the first one, but don't go there. And I said, all right, I'll leave it be. And then when he responded with the I don't want no smoke, laugh out loud, like, why'd you put so many LOLs? You could have just said my bad and left it be, and I'd have left it be. But when you put all the LOLs and the smoke emojis, I was like, let me write something else. Let me write something else. And I wrote a third one. And the third one actually became the second one that I dropped. But the other one I got, like I said, that one's just,
That's in the vault.
Yeah, it's in the vault. And if he gets bored and says, hey, let me go address this later down the line, be careful. Because if he goes overboard, then I'm going to pull that one out and then extend it. But that's the thing about beef that makes it fun is he has to respond so that I can respond to that. And then people can see that I'm writing. You know what I mean? Then you can see me responding to the things he says. Yeah. All he gave me was one line, and I wrote 2 minutes worth of stuff because I said, well, I'll just go off of this. You want no smoke? Cool. It's still going to get hot. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that. Right. And the fun thing about it is the people in the comments and the people that talk to me. You should say this and talk about how he did that. And I'm like, I didn't know about that. And I'll look it up and be like, dang, so. But again, it's not about disrespecting one another.
Right. It's about. But that's the thing about social media is that everybody interacts. You know what I mean?
Oh, the fans are more disrespectful than anybody else. Yeah. I was like, I'm doing a record about you in a minute. That's what I'm like, let me go find out who you are. You're going to be on my next album. But it's that's what it is. It's all about the art of hip hop, which I grew up and loved. And the greatest tragedy in hip hop was Biggie and Pac, because we had two of the greatest. They're still 1A and 1B in a lot of people's eyes as greatest of all time, and they're both gone forever. Even if there was a faked death, and even if Pac's somewhere living in Cuba, we still don't get him no more. You know, he gave us 5 or 6 more albums after he died, but still, you know, we didn't get none of Biggie. You know, who knows how how much great music we could have got from the both of them if it didn't end in tragedy. And then all of the other young talented, the Triple X and all these guys that that have died that I didn't really get into until after they died. And I said, who died? And then I listened to their songs. Oh my God, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. And these young kids, they get a lot of flack about. It's ironically, and I probably shouldn't say this. Let me look into the side. I always look to the left. I say something crazy when I'm doing interviews. No, I'm not gonna say that. But there's only one era that I really disliked, and it was the actual mumble era, which I believe has died. Now it's more so kids are using slang and they're talking in their own kind of code, and that's what it is. Where there was a time when it was like blah 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 blah. I was literally mumbling regular words without giving much effort, and that was supposed to be cool. Oh, it's cool because I don't really care. I'm just out here doing this, and it's just like, no, I want you to care. I want you to treat my genre with respect. I want hip hop to live forever. Are you making Pac and Big roll over in their grave listening to this garbage? I want to hop out and just do something like this, but I didn't want to just come out dissing nobody. Now that's when I would use the word. I'm not gonna talk bad about the young kids. They're like, you old nigga. Like, no. I'm just saying you treat it with respect, because it's really, there was a time when you could say I rap and people go, ooh, you a rapper? Oh, like Tupac and Biggie. You have these songs like Dear Mama and Political Views, and you talk about, you really creatively make everything rhyme at the same time. I would love to hear your raps. That's great. And then it went to a spot where you say I rap, and they were like, oh, really? You do that bibbity bobbity bull crap? Like, oh.
Yeah.
And auto tune. I'm like, oh, never mind. I don't rap. You know what I mean? It made it felt worse. When they say they make us look bad, the us is the culture of hip hop, which I am a part of, whether I rap or not.
Right.
Whether I release a record or album or not, I'm a part of the culture because of Baby Boy and Hang with Mr. Cooper and Smart Guy. That's the culture. That's hip hop, and I have to protect that by any means necessary, even if I have to get out there and do it myself. I can be the biggest fan in the world of the Lakers, but I can't get out there on the court and dribble for them, no matter how big a fan I am. But if I have something to contribute to hip hop, I'm going to do that.
Absolutely.
I will not let it down.
That's what's up. Like, you have lived a phenomenal life. And I know that there's a lot of people that are wondering, how do they do what you've done? How hard is it to become an actor?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting because times have changed. If you asked me this maybe 20 or some odd years ago, I'd say what you do is you go get you an agent. You don't spend much money. It's not as much money as you would think, depending on A, your abilities, and then B, your drive. Now, I say it like that because there are two types of actors, in my opinion, for lack of better, examples. My brother and myself. My brother is an actor. He's a thespian. This man has an Oscar for a reason.
Yes.
All right. He can do anything. And he has done everything. You know what I mean? If you look at the list of roles that he's done, and people can judge this however they want, but you can take Boys in the Hood, you could take Men of Honor, you could take Radio, you could take Snow Dogs, Boat Trip, and I say it like that because people go, "Ooh, what that little gumball?" Blah 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 blah. But he can do it all and pull it off. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm a natural actor who didn't study the art like that, right? I didn't find methods of how to cry and how to get into the zone. Well, I kind of learned on the job on how to do all of that. And the best way for an actor like myself to do that is accepting or auditioning for roles that are relatable to me to some degree. Right? They say, man, everything you're in is good. I was like, you sure? Well, we've seen some Tubi movies. All right. Besides that, everything your performance-wise is good. Like, you always are killing it, or you always, that's purposeful. I don't like to take, I'm telling you, they say, hey man, we want you in this movie. And I look at it and I'm like, he dies at the end? I don't like that role. He's the guy that winds up being the asshole, or the guy that gets shot or something. Nah, no thanks. I want to be the hero. I want to be the guy that says something. I want to be the guy that you come to. Like, you know what I mean? Or the comedy relief, or the cool best friend that's always here for you, or whatever the kid. Like, those are the roles that I can excel at. I know how to do those roles. If you ask me to do something like radio, 99% of the time I won't be able to pull it off because I've tried, not because I don't know.
How are you enjoying TikTok? How are you enjoying TikTok? How is the transition there? Like going live? Because I've seen you a couple of times. I've seen you a couple of times live, and I thought it was amazing.
Like, it's fun. You know what I love about TikTok? Here's what I'll give you about TikTok. On Instagram, I have like really organic followers. Like, people say, oh, you can buy followers, you can buy this, you can do that, and you can boost this and boost that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna post and see what the fan how it comes. And I've grown just bare minimum, gridded out fan. Like, I can tell these are my fans, about 360 some thousand followers, right? Yep. I start on TikTok, I have like 10,000 maybe. Now I think it's up to like 40,000. But when I go live on Instagram, there'll be maybe 100 people watching at one point. And I know it keeps cycling on and off. When I go on TikTok, it'd be like 500-600 people like that. And I'm just like, look at the engagement. Look at all the people locked in. Yep. And they're more interactive, and they throw the little hat and the glasses. And I had no idea that was, excuse me, I had no idea that was money. Probably more excited. So I look at all this money. What is this? And I was like, is this stuff you use for TikTok? And they're like, no, that's real money. Cash it out. And I'm like, shut up. Yeah, and I cashed it out. They came right to me. I said, get the heck out of here.
Your box, I was like so shocked because I seen Emmanuel Lewis on and then Timberland on at one point. Yeah, I seen them on there. Timberland actually has a show on TikTok.
I see. So I actually do know that. I have I did a song with Fatima Rose. It's out. It's called Know About Me. You can look it up. It's out. We released it and everything about last year, right before my birthday, when I released my single Overstand Me, produced by DJ M80. I don't do enough shameless plugs, so I got to get that in there as much as I can. Do have a single out called Overstand Me, but there's one also called Know About Me by Fatima Rose. And when I went down the rabbit hole and saw her, I saw that she went on there, and he was listening to her music and was like, girl, you are it, right? Then I got another buddy of mine that raps, and he went on there and he sent him a couple songs. I was trying to tell him, after I saw what happened, I was like, bro, you got to be selective in what you show people when it's the first time they hear you. Now, I know that's something weird to say. Like, if you're good, it's just good. Pick any song. When you get in your artistry, that's the other difficult thing about music. You have to select. That's why when an artist releases an album, not every song is great. That's not every song is great. Some songs are good, some songs not. Some songs you skip, some songs not. But to them, they love every single song. That's why it's on their album. So it's like, just play anything. And it's like, no. You got to know, my hard-hitting song is here, or a song is there, or you would love to have, an album that just no one just plays all the way through. But
that's what I used to like. I used to be so upset when you guys would release an album, but there was my one favorite song, and you would always put the worst song as the single and not the good songs. You had to buy the CD.
Yeah. That's funny too, because it's like, that's why I love that this independent age that we're in, where you can put your own stuff out, you can be your own A&R and do that. I mean, it's harder, it's a longer grind, but some of the good music actually makes it to the top. But back in the day when the record labels were just controlling everything, you had to just deal with what they gave you. It's just what the label wants. My father, his biggest hit was Everybody Plays the Fool. Everybody Plays the Fool was a good song. Obviously, it was a hit, but it didn't showcase all of his vocals.
Right.
So every time he sang the song live, at the end of the song, he would just break it down, boom, boom, and hit one long note and hold it forever, and then do some bravado and some runs and stuff like that. And everybody like, whoa, he can really sing.
Every sometimes, you got to play the fool sometimes. Everybody plays the fool.
This is like the single that they put out, but we didn't know that he could really sing. And that leads me back to the other song I released called Legacy, which I dedicated to my father. And in that song, I take that clip when he performed it on Soul Train, and he did it every single time he performed it. And that's why when you hear it, and that's another good one, man. And we dropped, shout out to Stephen Keys, the Mogul Ellis, who produced that track. And a couple songs on my other album that I dropped last year called Succession. So get all these plugs in when you can, big O.
Right.
And it's me and my dad doing a song together because we never really got to do a song together. I would always perform, as a youngster. I would go to his concerts, and he said, my youngest is in the crowd, and y'all know him from acting, but he also can rap. Come on out here, Omar. And he played just a drum track, and I would just freestyle, and I would just get it. And I loved the crowd. They were like, yeah, it was always great. But anyway, so after he passed, it was one of my regrets not being able to do a song with him. But the beat that Keys sent to me was so phenomenal. It started with everybody plays the fool sometime, and then it goes into the beat. The beat was boom, zoom, zoom, and it had my dad's sample singing throughout the whole beat. And I was like, it's like we get to sing and rap together. This is awesome. So then I added a part where I say, go ahead, Pops, give him some. And then it passes to him, and it's his long run that he does at the end of his songs. And then it goes back to me, and then I talk about my brother and my sister and his kids and my kids and wrap it all up in this real family thing. So it's a really good song. So if you get a chance, download Legacy by Omar Gooding and peep that out. And you'll see all of the generations.
What platforms are you on where we can find your music?
So yeah, you can find mine. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere where you can stream music. From iTunes to Apple Music to Spotify to everywhere. Just you have to put Omar Gooding in the search engine, type it all the way out, and find it. There's some music out under Big O still, but there's like 5 or 6 different Big O's I found out. So I was like, okay, let me pull all the Big O stuff and put it back out under Omar Gooding.
Damn it, I'm coming. I need you to know I turn on the radio and all I hear is we need you, Big O. Big O, need you to click, easy to flow. M-O-D-O, now watch me squeeze it and blow. Blah. How you liking me now? Hype for your while. I ease your pain, Vicodin style. Might be a smile you see on my face, but underestimate now.
But yeah. Probably.
So that's what's up. I'm like so super proud of you. You have done some amazing things. How do you think that the internet and the social media generation has changed it for the game in general?
Especially in my industry. So you had to start off, you had to get an agent, and then you go out on auditions. All you had to do is have a resume, get a headshot, and that's it. You learn the material, you go do your best. You try to make yourself as different as you can from everybody in the audition room. This day and age, they have a thing called Actors Access, which is phenomenal. All you have to do is be a part of Actors Access. They will send you out on stuff, and you can just like this at home, booking stuff, which is amazing. I got friends that just start out acting, and they're like, "Man, I just booked this gig." I was like, "Oh, you want to audition?" He's like, "Yeah, in my living room." I'm just like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, and I booked it." So it's real encouraging time, and for both industries, even with music, just you have all you need on your phone or your laptop to get yourself out there. Spend a couple dollars boosting these ads, and they got all these new platforms. I hear the streaming thing is changing because I remember I put an album out and I made a little bit of money off it. I was like, okay, this is enough to do it as a hobby. And then when the streaming started, it made like negative money. I said, what is going on here? I was like, this streaming is out of control. I'm like, yeah, look all of it. No, there still ain't no money yet. So I can't wait till they change those roles for the better for the artists that really deserve it.
Absolutely.
Invest in it, man. The future is really bright for kids that can get themselves out there. So, in terms like, how do you get started? Well, maybe you create an account and go off. And you just got to stay vigilant. I mean, these guys that have these huge following, they post 2-3 times a day. I was looking at Snoop Dogg's account. He posts 2-3 times a day, and there's like 8 million followers. I'm like, oh, I see. That's why. I have enough hard time posting once a week. Twice a day.
That's MH's job. That's MH's job. You were like family to us. Like your family on TV was the one we all wanted.
I grew y'all up. That's what. I love going out and somebody be like, you grew me up. I'm like, I grew you up? You got more gray hair than me. How I grow you up? Okay. I get it. I get it. I get what they mean. But I remember I was a kid too watching. I grew myself up. We was all growing up together just on TV. It was like the Truman Show. I just grew up. Y'all just saw me grow up. But it's fun though too, because every role I take is it's something I take. They don't see what happens after they say cut. That's why Baby Boy shot so many people. It's just like, what the hell? How'd this happen? I'm like, well, I gotta have a life on my own, and there's people around me that keep me, out of trouble, and these are the people I emulate on screen.
So how do you balance that, like home and then all the stuff that you're doing outside of that? How do you balance it?
Well, my brain works like that. Like I can't sit still anyway mentally. It's like I love getting my rest now. Don't get me wrong, but it's a million things. Like as soon as we get done here, I'm gonna look at my phone and go, whew. Like I have to make notes You know what I mean? But that's how my brain works. It's kind of peaceful to me to have something that, okay, I do this and then I got to switch to that. Okay, I got to write this verb. Boom, I got to learn these lines for this. Okay, now I got to develop this. Oh, I forgot to post. I got to post about this. I got to do this. But it doesn't get crazy to me. It's like, it's kind of calm to me. You know what I mean?
Did you ever have people tell you like you should just sit down and relax? Because the people do that a lot to me. They'll be like, sit down and relax.
But not my people.
Oh,
they got a kid and their mom and everything. Get up over here, dude. I'm just trying to relax. Can I get a minute? I gotta go hide in places.
right.
She's like, you need a bathroom a long time. Yeah. Still going, please. Just need a break. Just give me a minute. But that's when, because usually like when you get home, you need to have some place that's your space. But I do so much traveling. You know, I'm in this next 4 days are gonna be nuts. Like tomorrow, I'm doing a film. It's one day, but it's a million lines that I have to learn. But that's how my brain works. It's good. Like I can do all this, and then when I dump that, while I'm doing the film, out on lunch break, I'm going to do a Zoom for this play that I'm on, and I'm the lead in the damn play. So I got to do the Zoom lines with them. Boom, boom, boom. Go back to doing the film, then get home to my 2 young boys, and spend some time with them before I leave for 4 days. Next day, I fly to Indianapolis. I'm headlining out in Indianapolis on the show over the weekend. Saturday, I'm hosting a show in Seattle. Since it's the day before Super Bowl, I'm not going to fly home during Super Bowl, so I'm staying out there to host a Super Bowl party. And then on Monday, when I get home, there's actually, when does this air? Tomorrow? I don't think I can say that. Well, who cares? Small world, big world. I'm doing somebody's having a surprise party, and I'm the guest speaker, celebrity person that's going to do the thing. Nice. They're going to be like, oh my God. And then, so a matter of fact, coming to the stage, Omar Gooding. So, and that's Monday, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. And then I'll have a week to myself. But that week, there's nothing ever to yourself. You know, I've been doing this since I'm 9 years old. People are like, oh, when do you retire? We don't retire. We just pass away.
Right.
You know, entertainers do it forever. Right. This is a forever job. Like, how you stay young and all this? I don't know. Water. I drink as much water and find time. And your body will tell you when it's time to sleep. That's what's funny. As you're getting older and stuff, you just start doing this here and be like, whoa. Yeah. I had the craziest thing happen to me when I was at the car wash the other day. I had a meeting. It was during the day. I was getting my car detailed, and I was talking on the phone. I had 3 different meetings going on. These guys want me to be the brand ambassador for the clothing line. Then they have a new app that's coming out that's called Tone, where they can send a tone to your phone and they advertise stuff. And they're doing a movie called Black Smoke, and I want to be there on the lead. And there's some crypto stars, a whole bunch of stuff. So we do all this, switch over to clothing guy, do that line, boom, boom, boom. And then I finish, and I go, boom, okay, let me sit down. And I sit down at the car wash, and I didn't even feel my eyes close. Next thing you know, a guy's tapping me, sir, your car's ready. Huh? Your car's ready. I was like, did I just fall asleep at 12 noon in broad daylight? The people were looking at me like, did he just die? Did this man just die on the, like this man just like a dope fiend? Like, what is wrong with him? Like, I'm sorry, I was just tired. I'm awake. Everybody's good. Go. How you doing it? I've never fallen asleep like that in broad daylight. He's like, just had so much going on. My body was just like, just take a minute. Take it now. Take it now. Take it now. The dude was calling me so much. That's probably what everybody was looking at me like, why? He's not answering. He's not answering. He could come up and tap me. I'm a light sleeper. That was insane to me. But I'm using that on stage, so hope they just don't air before that. No. I'm definitely going to tell that story in Indianapolis. So if you heard it, laugh anyway. It made me laugh. It's crazy.
No, because it probably happened to all of us.
Yeah. But it's hard to balance it all. But it's you just gotta the advice I would give to people that have hectic schedules like that. You gotta find time for yourself. You gotta really just say you have to stick up for yourself. I find myself sticking up for myself, and sometimes the best way to stick up for yourself is to be an asshole. I know that sounds weird, but it's like like, oh, don't do that. But no, I can't. Nope, I'm not doing it. What is wrong with him? No, just no, not doing it. I'm not gonna allow you. We just need you. No. Give me a moment, and then I'll do it. Now, that may seem like I was being abrupt or this and that and the third. Now, I never do that to my fans. Now, that's different. I feel if I'm out in public and they see me and they want to say hi or they want to come get a picture or blah, 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 blah. Yes, absolutely, graciously, because without them, I'm nothing. So, but if I'm working, I have to stand up for myself. If I'm working and I say, you got an hour, you get an hour. If it's an hour and a half, well, I'm going to need a break. Then I'll come back and we do another half hour. I need to close my eyes somewhere. I need to go over these lines, whatever it is. I need to just take a moment and kind of process and answer some calls, make sure ain't nothing wrong with my kids and like, you know what I mean? And then boom, the more you take care of yourself and stand up for yourself, the better on your mental.
Absolutely. And that's how you stay so young.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to take it for yourself.
Because you don't be stressed. It's like, hey, I got a plan. No stress.
Yeah. The stress, that's the tough part. It's like, so I'm like, I never stress, but then I'll get nervous and be like, what is that? I'm like, is this stress? I don't know what stress means until my heart started beating for some reason. I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes it affects us all different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So what is a common myth about the job industry that you're in?
A common myth. That I don't know if it's common or not, but that it's easy. People act like oh, I can do that. All you do is act, or all you do is just say your little lines, blah blah blah. And then you give them the microphone or you point the camera at them and they freeze like a deer in headlights because they're just like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought. It is a lot harder. It is definitely a craft. If you think it's easy and you don't come prepared, then you've wasted a lot of people's time. You get up there, you don't know your lines. Now the person that's depending on you to say the correct line doesn't know their line. If you don't know how to hold yourself or where you need to be, you have to hit your marks. There's cameras are, they're pointed at you and you have to be where they're at. Sometimes they'll follow you, but then you get a bad angle. There's so many different things to it, and lighting. Sometimes can you do all that scene but cheat this way so that the light hits you and this blah, blah, and then we bring the light, or we have to relight everything. And so like there's so much to it. And through all of that, you have to stay locked in and deliver a performance at the same time. So a lot of people say, oh, it's just nothing. All I do is put the camera at you and go, yeah, okay. The same thing with rap and music and hip hop. You can write something and it could be great, but then you have to deliver it on the mic. You have to hit every part in a certain way. You have to redo it again. And you listen back, you got to be able to hear everything and say, nope, that didn't sound right. Bring this up, bring that down. You have to be able to hear yourself. You have to, you got to be focused. You got to be sober. You have to be, right. There's so much to it that there's a reason why there's only so few that are actually reach the mountaintop. You can try it. You can watch Tubi and see the people that just did. Get the check. But I should keep messing with Tubi like that because we do have a series on Tubi. Shout out to Funny AF Comedy Showcase that we put on there. Man, I got a lot of stuff. Got a whole series that's streaming on Tubi called Funny AF. Omar Gooding presents Funny AF Comedy Showcase, hosted by comedian Warren Valentine. But there's a lot of opportunities and these platforms are changing and so forth and so on. But that's a common myth that it's not as hard, that we make it look easy.
Right. Well, you know what, Omar, you have been absolutely amazing. I so appreciate you. And I want to, because I know you have some busy life right now. I want to give you 5 minutes to take a nap.
I know, you tell when I do. Can we change it to 4 o'clock? Oh my goodness. I got 4 minutes of power nap. Then I got to pick up my youngest, then my oldest. One's got what does he have today? Is it karate? No, he's got a art class. We started before an art class, and he has guitar, and they both are playing basketball. The other one just started baseball. And their mama, she should be not working, but she's like, I like to stay busy. I'm like, yeah, I guess it is better than you bother me. But now I got to split the duties. So I got to pick up the kids. She do this, we do that. It's all good fun. But God is good, man.
Yes, M80. I appreciate you, bro.
Shout out DJ M80. Yep. That man with the plan. He's really taking my music to another place. So I'm excited about that. Look out for my album, I'm Him by Omar Gooding. I'm gonna try to get it out by the summer. He wants to push it a little later. I'm like, no, let's drop it. Let's drop it now. But we're gonna do a couple of singles. I did a remix. So Overstand Me, I actually did a remix with G Dep, which I'm excited about. And I got a call the other day from Glasses Malone. So we might do something real fun coming up. And Kosher Dills, shout out to Kosher Dills. We got a new single that we're dropping as well. So a lot of more music coming. I have a movie. I got to shout out the movie News Cycle, directed by Roger Green Jr.
What
phenomenal
about your clothing line?
Oh, the clothing line is His Love is Amazing. I didn't bring these shirts in here. His Love is Amazing. Go to hisloveisamazing.com and purchase a shirt today. Shout out to the Apostle Martia Scott. It's a great movement. We're sending underserved youth to their very first NBA experience. So when you buy a t-shirt, the proceeds go to taking a child to their very first NBA game, and they might learn something a little bit about God. Because his love is amazing, and without him, my career would be nothing. And it's always good to give back. Follow me on Instagram at Omar Gooding, TikTok, Omar Miles Gooding, and Partridge in the Pear Tree. I got so much stuff going on. But thank you for doing what you do so that I'm able to talk about what I do.
Oh, we appreciate you so much. Thank you
Thank
so much, love.
God
I will
bless
stay in touch. You guys have you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Omar Gooding, guys. Look at this. So amazing. God is good. So everybody continue to have a wonderful morning, evening, or night, wherever you may be. Keep in mind, you can only go as far as you take yourself. So continue to stay pushing, loving each other, and just giving back.
There will be